Thank you. First, I would like to say thank you for the invitation to talk about our investment in and work with circadian light. It has been very interesting. As I said, the slides is to show you some pictures from before and after. And while you see the pictures, I will be talking about how we got the light and our experience with it. I am a manager of Sorensen, which is a nursing home for people living with dementia. We have 46 apartments and approximately 60 employees. We are located at the outskirts of Hillerød Kommune in Denmark, which has approximately 55,000 inhabitants. In 2013, our development manager was at a conference where she heard about circadian light for the first time, and she was thrilled. She was very concerned that we should have that at Sorensen. She said it was one of the few initiatives that has a good effect on both residents and staff, and it should be pretty easy to implement. And that was her most important argument for why we should do this. So in 2014, we applied a pool for the money because it's very expensive, but we were unfortunately refused. So in 2015, we could see that someone else had been given money for the circadian light, but we hadn't applied for it. So we tried again in 16, where we again were refused. They said we were too late. And then we decided to find the money in our own budget because we really wanted this light. We closed that position, and when the were vacancies, we delayed the hiring of a new employee for 1, sometimes 2 months in order to save up for the 24-hour lighting, which would cost us approximately 200,000 euro. We had the first circadian light set up in autumn 16, and we had bought the light in 4 steps so that we could spread the cost over 3 budget years. In the spring of 18, we had 24-hour lighting in all the corridors, in kitchen and living rooms, in all the departments. And we also had decided to have it in the offices. We did not buy the light for the apartments because the costs were too high. The cost for the apartments would be about the same as for all the other places, about the 200,000 euros. So that was a lot of money. And we decided that most people would gain some effect of it by having it in kitchen, living rooms, and corridors. When we switched off the first stage, we could feel the effect immediately. The night employees who did not have circadian lights because we only had put it up in 1 corridor, they came and asked when they would get it in their apartments. And the feedback was that the residents, they slept better if they got up at night. They looked into the hallways, and after a little while, they would turn around and return to bed. If they went out in the hallways for a walk, it was pretty easy to get them back to bed. And because we, of course, want them to spend the night in their bed and sleep because it's the best for them, it was a big success because we had quite a few who was wandering around during the night because we had too much light. The effect has continued. It's still the same today. They look out and go to bed, or they take a little walk and we help them to bed. Sometimes we offer a resident a cheese snack if we can feel that they are hungry. But once it's eaten, they are happy to go back to bed because they only have the night light, as you see on the slide here. So the whole system is still a kind of calm and sleepy, but they get the food they need, and then they can sleep again. Today we have far fewer residents who do not sleep at night. And before we had the lights, we had always, no matter what time of the year, we had residents who was wandering around. Now we can see the big difference because there is more quiet. Of course, we sometimes have some wandering around, but mostly they are sleeping in their bed. We also feel that we can see that the new residents we take in, it sometimes says in the records that they doesn't sleep much and there's a problem with them during the night. But our experience is that they pretty fast settle in with us and are only awake briefly at night if they don't sleep all night from the beginning. The employees are also excited about this light. The feedback the day staff gave us was that they had more energy and less headaches when they went home from work. And the evening staff, they say they sleep faster when they come home because the system is already calmed down. And the night shift gave us the same feedback. We also make sure to write in the job advertisement we put up for the night shift that we have this circadian light. And most of the applicants who call us or come to visit to see the house, they usually ask about it and find it very interesting. And the ones we hire, they often come back with us. Yeah, I don't know what that sound is, but I hope you can hear me.
John, could you check that could you meet somebody?
When we hire new people, especially night shift people, the employees, they often after a few days, they tell us how nice it is to have this light. Many of the ones we hire is from night shift teams, other places where they don't have the light. So it's always interesting for us to hear how they feel the difference. And they do feel the difference. The headache, they have more energy. They don't use as much energy during the night as they did at their former job. And they sleep faster when they come home. It's usually some of the things they tell us. They are also very good to tell us, the night team are very good to tell us if there is something wrong with the light. We had the lightning struck one night and the light turned on for full blast all night. So next morning they told us that we had to do something about the light because that wasn't good. And we called the company we bought it from, Innovators, and they came the same day and fixed it for us. And they could see that some of the parts were ruined because of the lightning, but they fixed that. So we didn't have the full light. And then as fast as they got the components they had to change, we got the perfect lights back again. They are very quickly if we need the help. So the light always works as it should. And it's very seldom we need their help because somehow it just goes and just works. I have recommended the circadian rhythm light to everyone who has asked, as I experience it as a benefit for both employees and residents. And at the same time, it's easy to implement, very easy. It's expensive, yes, but it is worth the money. We are now building one more residential home in this community, and I have talked about this circadian light and said it was a very good idea. So now they are looking into it and looking at the cost and all that. But right now it looks like they are going to make the priority and put it in the budget. So I think that's a very good thing. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was another fascinating presentation. Also, the quality of the collaboration that you have with Kremaviso, as with Lenka's talk earlier, you can just see how critical that really is. And John, do you have any other questions there?
It's more of an observation than a question, but I would be interested to see what Kirsten has to say about it. We're often conflicted, I think, is probably a decently enough word to use, about lighting for staff in these situations. And I think, Kirsten, you've got the nighttime lighting in the circulation areas, in the corridors. That is if you like, that's your standard low level of illumination throughout the night.
Yeah.
And the staff are perfectly comfortable with that very low level of light.
Yes, they are.
Whereas there's always this assumption that when there's a carer walking down the corridor, you've got to give them more light. And I think we're starting to ask ourselves that question as to whether that, strictly speaking, is necessary.
We have the night light, as I call it, from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. next morning. And we have this thing on the wall where they can push a button and get full light if somebody falls or something happens.
Yeah.
But they have never used it. Once in a while I ask them, but they say it's not necessary. They can, of course, in the apartments where we don't have the circadian light, they have full light, and it's often in the apartments if they have to do something that takes time or they need a lot of light. But in the hallways, kitchens, living room, they have never turned it on the full light. They really like the calm light.
I'll take that as some sound evidential.
But
It works.
just a question then, have you then found the money to do the bedrooms as well, or are you just leaving them as they are?
So right now we have 4 bedrooms out of the 46, and we are leaving the rest right now. It's everything costs, and it's hard to get employees, so they get higher wages.
So are you seeing a difference in the behavior in the 4 rooms that have the upgraded lighting, or not really?
All the people living with dementia at our house, so it's pretty hard to see it on the residents. But we had a new resident coming in, and the staff asked if we could get the light in his apartment because they could see the difference from the 4 apartments and where he lived. That told me that they use it when they are there. I just don't hear about it.